Right, now then, we've seen, upon examination of the footage, comparing footage with footage, the contradictions of the story of these two couples having been attacked by Novichok. Okay, so the government has gone and looked at a very fancy name that people can remember, and they've come up with Novichok. Okay, so they run with this as the top story. Novichok on the run has taken down two couples in March. Those two couples since have been released from hospital. All the contradictions around them make the news story a complete fake. Beginning with the fact that the couple collapsed in Salisbury in a park, and then they collapsed somewhere a pig in else. But having collapsed, a couple just collapsed, normal everyday couple, then an officer turns up because a young girl has phoned the fuzz. Well, phone the ambulance has come along, the police have come along, officer goes up to him, he gets infected. Then the story says that he was infected in a pigging house, on his own, no socko, no companion with him, just singularly on his own, in a house, having presumably broken into that pigging house to get in. Now, a couple collapsing on the ground is nothing new. But the police and ambulance service initially saw that it was an attack by Russia. Well, the couple, the first two couple, samples were taken from them and taken to the normal hospital laboratory. But now the story changes that it went to Porton Down. What the hell is going on? A couple has gone down in a public area, in a park. What's all the pig and fuss about? It happens every day. But does every day the police turn up and then eventually samples taken and sent to Porton Down, and then it just happens that they've been attacked by this germ, manufactured germ? Goodness gracious, what people will frigging believe. And then a press conference is held, the anti-terrorist squad is alerted. There's a clean-up operation. And then 4 months on, the same thing happens again. Except this time one of the creative people dies. One woman in a meeting I was at wrote this subject up and said they're not following this through. Asked her what she meant. And she was quite correct. They didn't follow it through. You see, when the other couple came out of hospital, what should have been there outside the hospital? Camped outside the hospital. The news media, vans, the lot. Clicking away, cameras, clicking away, film footage, taken, blah, oh, there'd be an absolute scrum. It'd be all the newspapers, here they are, interview, blah, 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 are you fine now, blah, blah, blah. None of that. There's no interviews on the TV. Somewhere say, oh, I don't want interviews, but that doesn't stop the normal, everyday use and practice of the media standing outside a picking hospital. A scrum. trying to get the frigging microphones in the pigging ears, up the noses, everywhere. It all went dead, didn't it? Never followed through. And of course, as we say, Porton Down. Porton Down has gassed the people in this country from 1955 to 1979, 97 rather. But no, the contradictions, and it's the same in this. The contradictions. One moment they're living in a house, next moment living in flats. One moment they're purchasing wine from a shop. They've got CCTV footage, which they don't show us, of them purchasing wine, but they've actually got CCTV footage of them purchasing cans of beer or lager. And of course, they went down in Salisbury, then they didn't go down in Salisbury, went down in Amesbury, and so on and so on and so on and so forth. Now, the chap again, the media has not been outside the hospital to snap photographs of him, film footage of him, or anything of him. And he's not made any money from this, has he? He's not gone on TV, he's not been invited on TV, he's not been with the newspapers to sell his story on this. Because it just doesn't follow through, stories don't. Let's see what this chap has to say.
The open, it decays to air, to water, and loses its toxicity if it isn't in a huge pile. But the third, and back quickly. So if this...
You live around here and none of us have been kept in the loop.
And again, the government is urging people not to worry. Apparently, everything is safe. Again. Second big question. I spent weeks traveling, meeting military chemists, going to laboratories, learning about the Novichoks. It's a group of different nerve agents, 60 odd of them. Most Novichok varieties decay quickly. So if the substance is left out in the open, it decays.
Of course it does.
Air to water and loses its toxicity if it isn't in a huge pile. But the third and perhaps biggest question, how have these two survived so far? Same with the Skripals. How? This is one of the deadliest substances in the world. Look, one drop of a Novichok in liquid form is enough to kill 10 average weight men. And now you have these two who were found and treated hours after being exposed.
If inhaled, symptoms appear and death follows in minutes. If it gets on the skin, symptoms and death can take from minutes to hours.
Political commentator John White believes the authorities in the UK are being inconsistent with their statements on the Skripal probe.
Well, this just reminds us of the scandal at the heart of this issue, which is not Russia's alleged involvement, but is the investigation itself, because this is an investigation regarding the Skripal poisoning at the beginning of March, which has been typified by shifting narratives, contradictory information, and the kind of inconsistencies that which seem to suggest that the narrative has been lifted straight from the pages of a Pink Panther movie script starring Peter Sellers as Inspector Clouseau. First we were told that Novichok was the most lethal nerve agent known to man and that the slightest exposure to it would result in almost instant death. Then when it became clear that the Skripals were making a miraculous recovery, we were told that it was because that they were treated in time with an antidote. Then they were told that the potency of this Novichok nerve agent diminished with exposure to moisture, and that because there was a rain shower between the time of the administration of this nerve agent on the door handles of the Skripal's house in Salisbury and them touching the door handle, that diminished the potency and was a significant cause in their recovery. Now we're being told that this...
Just a moment. On the door handles and such like, okay, as I said, it wouldn't be there by the time the fuzz turned up and Socko and all the rest of it. The thing is that they went down in the park. I mean, nerve agents are there to incapacitate people as quickly as possible. No, they went into they came out of the picking house and trotted off and did what they wanted to do and went into a park, and then they collapsed. It just gets worse and worse, doesn't it?
Same Novichok that was used to poison the Skripals has poisoned this unfortunate couple who lived 12 kilometres away from where the Skripals were living in Salisbury. So the contradictions are quite preposterous.
I know.
And it's clear that no one in their right mind could take what we're being told so far. It's a catastrophic failure of the authority.
It is. I don't know why they cut that short.
And it's clear that no one in their right mind could take what we're being told so far. It's a catastrophic failure of the authority.
Yeah, it is. It's so contradictory that it's just a joke. It's an absolute frigging joke, isn't it? I mean, the couple themselves, this latest couple, is supposed to have opened a package of of a perfume. He sniffs it. No effect. She sprays it. Strange, really. I mean, he's sniffing it. So is he taking the top off somehow of the spray bottle? Gone. Hey, you're not getting high on this, love. Hey, put it back on, and she then sprays it on her wrists and rubs her wrists together, and then she becomes ill. But he's taken the frigging volume of it down into his lungs, and he's all right until she's gone to hospital. And another contradiction, by the way, aside from the fact that now they're saying he was in a flat with her, she apparently went and possibly infected a shelter, women's shelter, in Salisbury. Then they're living in a house, okay. The beer changed into wine. Oh boy, oh boy. I've forgotten actually what the other contradiction was, but there's just so many freaking contradictions. So many. Oh yes, the lad. That was it. There's footage of a lad. I'll have to try and find that. Who said he saw her coming out of the house. And he's standing in this new road. In fact, can we get it? Let's have a look. It's the same road as that fella. If this road, I'll try and get the footage, but it's this road. Then another chap says that he saw the woman coming out of one of these houses. So that's another contradiction. And this fella, let me just go on one.
But yeah, I'm a little bit worried now that we don't know what's going on, because I have my children come here and there are other parents and you live around here and none of us have been kept in the loop.
You come round here and you live round here and you're not being kept in the loop. So you've never seen this couple. Nobody's seen this couple. Everyone they interview in Amesbury, nobody's ever seen this couple. Just like Adam Lanza. Nobody ever saw Adam Lanza. Nobody ever saw Nancy Lanza. Yes, we've got the fake children saying, oh, he came to our school, this Adam Lanza, and he was very shy and kept to himself and so. And it proved that he wasn't even in the picking school. He was too old to go to the picking school. He'd only come in 2011, February 2011 he came into Sandy Hook. And he was too big and old to go to the school by then. dear. Well, we'll leave it at that. I think we've said enough, haven't we? And these are picking said enough. We'll try and find that begging footage.